I would tell them that, if they go through this process, they need to, first of all, trust that they can get out of this, that it is possible. Your anxiety is lying to you and it's going to try to make you stuck. So you cannot trust it, really not trust it. It's like your worst enemy at the moment. It wants you well, but at the moment when you are in the cycle, you cannot trust it. You really cannot, and it will try to convince you, and it will be the best on trying to convince you. But you really, really need to put in the tools that you're taught, and you're gonna see that you cannot trust anxiety, but you can trust yourself. But you really have to have the faith for it. And also listen to other people that went through this, because that helped me, and also put your faith into them. Because, for example, me, I would never sit and talk about this if I didn't strongly believe in this. And I tell so many people, it's crazy, but it works. And you will understand once you have applied and been on the other side as well. You will understand, and you will learn so much, and you will grow so much. So see this as something that is going to help you in the future, if you really trust. And yeah, just go through this journey, and you in the end, you're just going to develop as a person. And I know it's crazy, and I know your head is going to give you so many weird symptoms, but just put everything under the anxiety umbrella that you always told us, like literally everything, because it's gonna try to make you feel like, okay, but this is something else, this is something else, this is something. No, everything there. And then just go through the journey to recover, and you will. But you really need to be disciplined about it also as well. You need to put in the work into it, because it's not going to happen like this, because your brain will automatically try to put you back into where you're stuck. So just decide for yourself that, hey, I'm going to get into recovery, and I believe in myself, and I do trust my body. And for once, I'm going to just do this for myself.
What's up, everybody? In this video, I have a very special person. I have Frida, who's come on. And Frida is going to be sharing with you her journey, how it's been, what's going on. This is really exciting for me because we haven't really connected in the last year. So I'm really curious about not just everything that's happened, but how the last year's been going too. So Frida, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And Frida, first of all, where are you from? For our
I'm
audience.
I'm from Sweden, but I
Mhm.
lived in the Netherlands for 13 years. So yeah, I'm kind of Swedish Dutch, I would say now, almost.
Yeah. Yeah. I've always wanted to visit Sweden. We've had a few clients from there, so I've always wanted to check it out. I heard it's beautiful. Um, and what were, Frida, if you could summarize right now, we can break it down way more. What were like your most like debilitating symptoms now when you're looking at the whole journey?
Yeah, I would say it started with chest pain. So that was like my main issue. And then I had like really strong headaches. I also had quite a lot of social phobia, which I think played a huge role in it, because I was not breathing correctly. So of course I got chest pain then. So yeah, a lot of shame as well went into it. But for sure, my chest pain, but also I had very strange symptom, which was I was afraid that I was gonna blink too much with my eyes. So I was hyper focusing on how many times I was blinking, which is it's strange, but this is something that my mind was fixating on. So yeah, and some stomach problems, I would say as well, for sure.
Yeah, no, I get you. I get you. I always had like these weird symptoms too. Like I'd be focusing on my breath a lot. Like if I was getting a full breath of oxygen. Also, I would have vision changes, and so I'd be really focused on that too. So the whole blinking thing, it's more normal than you'd think, more common than you'd think. And so Frida, how did all of this begin? Like, let's go back to the very beginning.
Yeah. I would say it started with me losing my dad when I was 21 years old, and I got to go on antidepressive pills. And I was on those pills for like 10 years, and then I decided to stop. But when you stop with those kind of pills, you're also dealing with new emotions and sensations that's coming up. And I was not really used to those emotions. So I didn't know how to cope with it. And I started to develop, I couldn't really focus. I didn't know what kind of emotions I was feeling. So I went to a psychologist again, where they also found out that I have ADHD. And I got to go on some kind of ADHD pills or medications, which I started to then Google search to see what those pills did, which I should never have started to do. And I found out there that you can get like problems with your heart, especially if you're not really having some kind of ADHD, but you're kind of like wrongly diagnosed, which I started to then think that maybe I don't have ADHD. They just gave me these pills, and now I'm gonna have some heart problems because I'm eating something I should not eat. So for sure, my symptoms started to pop up more when I started to Google search. I think that was like my main mistake first of all. And that's when I started to have the chest pain. I started to, I got scared. So I called the doctor. I went to do tests, and they said, your heart is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But I always wanted to talk about this because I wanted to talk with people about my symptoms. I felt like there is something wrong. It cannot be that it's burning and there's such a pressure on my chest, and now it's going out in my arm. And if it goes out in my arm, for sure I have heart problems. Like, it cannot be something else. And if you're searching on this, you see these are the symptoms. So I started to have more and more symptoms, and I started to hyperfixate on them. And I couldn't really get my mind off it. It was like constantly in my head that there's something going on with my heart. And the more I was focusing on it, the more pain I got. I got sharp pains. So in the night I could wake up and I had like a sharp, like a knife in my heart, it felt like. And I was like, this cannot be. And the more I was hyper focusing on this, I started to get headaches. Of course. So I had it felt like I had something like around my head, like a band almost pressuring. So I felt like, okay, now I have something more. I also felt that I was having a lot of social phobia. So I was scared of being outside to meet people. I was constantly feeling I was on edge, and I was scared. I had a feeling that I was scared to meet people, or if someone would come into the room, that I would freak out. I was scared of getting red in my face. I was trying to prevent all these symptoms to even be visible, or that I was afraid that someone would see that I had this. And I think that's where I started to search for help more than what was wrong with me, to see what can I do to actually get better. And that's where I found you on YouTube, actually. And
It's so interesting, right? I was actually having a conversation about this where I always say the biggest enemy for anxiety and like recovery is the internet. But at the same time, it's also the thing that points us in the right direction.
Yeah.
Same thing with me, right? Like, I remember I didn't have a lot of resources, but I did have a couple of books, right? Hope and Hope for like nerds. But I found that on the internet. So I feel like the internet's good at like pointing you in the right direction, but then it's like, get off of it quickly. Otherwise you start, Google searching and stuff. Okay. So then you ended up finding me. You ended up joining the program. How was your recovery journey during the program? Like, what did you experience? What were the ups? What was the downs? What were some things that, surprised you? Like, what happened?
Yeah, for sure. I think one thing that I thought was really good, but also really scary, was that you were sharing with other people that had kind of same journey as you, but also not. And that was a bit scary for me because that's been one of my main things, that I don't really want to show my weakness, or what I thought was weakness. But which turned out to be very, very good, because you see that you're not alone in this, and it's kind of common. And for me, one main thing was to really go into the mentorship with trust, because I think if I didn't have trust in this, I don't think I would literally come to where I am today. So I remember, like, you coaches also told us, like, you need to trust us, you need to trust the process. Just like do what we tell you to do and you will get there. But it was really like I had to develop some kind of trust within myself also. Like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna listen to the coaches, and I'm also gonna be showing everyone what I'm going through, and try to stay on track this whole journey, even if it feels sometimes it really felt like this is not going to work, like like I'm stuck. I'm really stuck. I feel like I'm getting crazy, or I'm becoming crazy. So it was really like a period where I really felt good. Like some weeks I could feel really good, and then I was feeling bad again, and I was constantly like this for a while, I felt like. And I think one important thing for me was also to really stay positive in this process, and really try to, like, I'm a very disciplined person, which can be good and bad, but here I had to use it for like going into the program and use my discipline towards what you guys were saying. And I think also with the coaches, it was really good, because I think you were like 5 coaches then or something when I went to the mentorship.
Yeah, we have more now. Yeah, yeah. But no, at that time, I think it was like 4 or 5. Yeah. Yeah, and all of them are still there. Almost all of them are there.
Nice. Very nice.
So yeah, yeah.
Super nice. No, so that was also really good, because it's good to hear from different kinds of people. And we all went through different symptoms, but in the end, we have to apply the same things to get into recovery. So it was good to hear, like, hey, I went through this, okay, and I went through the blinking problems, and someone else had like the ball problems, for example, or the headaches, or maybe you think you see something, but it's not real. Like you become so, you have to open up. And I think one of the reasons why you get into this cycle is because you don't want to show people that you are a human being and you're going through stuff. So you're trying to hide everything until your body is like, okay, it's enough. Like you cannot do this anymore. So it's almost like it's a wake-up call. But going through with the program is really, really good, because I think when you would only be in one-on-one conversation, you're still with yourself only, and you're not really here. You're a bit exposed, which I think is very, very good, because you kind of have to recover. You have to get through the fear to get on the other side. So yeah.
There's so many things I want to say. The first thing I want to say really is just honestly celebrating you for sharing this. Like, just even being here right now, because I think you were a lot like me, where it's like I just didn't want to talk about it. I used to say to my family that this situation is going to go into the grave with me. No one's going to know. And it wasn't until I started realizing that, like, if I really did want to help people, it was a big thing about sharing my own story, and like celebrating you for sharing that too, because it really does help people. It really does, and what was that shift for you, by the way, to like decide to share your experience?
The shift to like how do you mean?
like, so there's two shifts, right? There was the first shift of you opening up in the program, but then there was also another shift of you coming on the channel now and sharing. And so what made you from, being like, I don't want to share this, naturally that protective element, which I think we all have, to sharing it in the program, but then also sharing it, on the platform?
For me, it's stepping into my own power. So I do see that I still have a tendency to hide, but I'm much more aware now than before I joined the program. And for me, this is a way to own up a little bit more for myself. Like, hey, you got here. Like, keep going. Like, keep going in life and keep being the Frida you are and show yourself and don't be afraid of that. So for me, it's really like just a milestone, and to see that also. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I think one of the things that, kind of what you're saying and something that I experience, because I think sometimes like, you know, coming on a platform like this or even talking about something where, we're a few steps ahead of everybody else, sometimes it can make us seem like feeling like the guru of everything. And one of the things I've been lately doing is I've honestly just been telling people, like the people in the mentorship, even people on the channel, that hey, like there's like I have actually a lot of stressors popping up right now. And like there's a lot of things personally going on right now where I'm kind of stressing out. I'm actually like feeling a little bit like sensitized and stuff like that. I'm kind of catastrophizing a little bit. I was recently going through something where I could tell I was like in that catastrophe mode. And the good thing is that because I'd gone through something like this, like I was able to catch myself, and that in itself didn't become the problem. It was just to fix what I could, but then learning the skill of letting go and stuff like that, that really helps. And so for you, um, it's about owning the power. Now, how has it been going since then? Like since you've been going through the mentorship, um, as you're, regaining that power, how has that journey been for you in general?
The journey has been up and down, I would say. But it has been, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot how I work as a person, and also to see the tendency I have when I am becoming afraid, for example, that I can feel now when I tense my body, or when I put too much pressure on myself, or when I am abusing my brain one day. It can be that I have so many things going on in my head, and I think that I can think about everything at the same time, while I am doing something totally different. And I I had to learn to see where my mistakes are and how I can change my mindset a bit. So every time that I do see that I have some kind of symptoms now, I can see what I did wrong. And I'm trying to work with my mindset the whole time. And I do feel that this have helped me with so many aspects in my life. So not only with the symptoms, but also how I deal with people, situations, job interviews, everything literally you can apply this to, which is it's cool. And you do feel like, hey, I know a lot actually. And I also know a lot about like the nervous system and how it works. And I can literally feel when I'm on edge, and I'm like, oh yeah, but that's because I'm a little bit now triggered, or it's just my nervous system, and that's totally fine. And just being okay with that. And I think acceptance also towards it, like just accept, like, okay, today I am a bit on edge, and not trying to like fix it, or why am I feeling like this, or this cannot be, or just like, okay, I'm on edge, or um, I feel embarrassed about this, but that's okay. Like just trying to go with it and trying to let go of the control, because we like control. And I think people that fall into the anxiety trap really likes control. So that's one of the things that I had to work with a lot.
I think my favorite thing about you when you were in the program was that you were very open to like learning. Like when things would pop up, like when you would have a rough week, I always say people's true self comes out when they're going through a rough time, myself included. Like I am like relaxed, fun. If I'm in a stressful situation, I'm not always the best to be around. And so I was like, man, like, that's still stuff I have to work on. When you were going through, when I saw like you going through the program and like, you were having difficult moments, like I remember a couple in particular, you came, you would approach the problem or the situation in a very like, you wanted to study what was going on. Most people like want to panic really fast. They just go into this panic mode and this emotional like roller coaster where they spiral downward. You were really trying to be like, okay, now what's happening? And I remember the coaches would give you feedback and you would really study what they were saying and really embodying that. And when I was thinking about, before this call, what really made you stand out, I think everything you said was correct. The trust element, the letting go element, but also that was one aspect of you that was really great. And I can even see even now as you're like on your own self-development journey, you're still doing that, right? Like you're still learning more about yourself. Now it's like a self like learning experience. And I think that's probably the best skill set you can have because you'll always be progressing then at that point. And, I look at it as the program's more there to teach you that so that, you can course correct along the way. Yeah, so that's been really great. That's been really awesome. How's life now? Because we technically haven't chatted in like the last year. How's
Mhm.
everything going? We briefly talked about it earlier before the call, but I didn't ask specifics. But I just curious, how's everything going the last year?
Good, good. A lot of changes that I was scared to do in my private life, which I have done. Um, I have just started to take responsibility by myself and trust my own decisions. And I do feel like I gained some self-confidence in myself. And life is good. Life is happening at the moment. I'm really in a big transition, but I do believe that this is the mentorship kind of made me start this journey a bit. I think it's always been within me, but I was just too scared to go through these things. So yeah, everything is going good, but life is life and things happen. And I mean, you just learn to deal with it. I do think, as you said, I'm very, very interested in why things happening and how I can do to make progress in life. And I'm trying to just always learn. And I think that have helped me so much. And I'm so interested in people and our minds. And so yeah, I'm just constantly learning at the moment, and I'm trying to just continue my whole life.
I feel like I said, that was like for the mentors and myself, that was like one of our favorite things about you. And I agree. I mean, I think my journey right now, creating by my panic and building this, to me, it's still part of the same journey of like recovery, right? And like I got better. And like, well, what do I want? Like, what makes me happy? And then I was like, well, I want to serve, you know, I want to be location independent, and I want to do things that like, and so then it was exploring. It's like, okay, maybe I can help people with this. And then it's like, okay, now it's about building this and create something beyond, but it's still to me part of the same journey. It just kind of morphs from like an anxiety recovery journey of like, oh, I need these symptoms to go away to like, okay, symptoms are no longer a problem. And now it's like, what else? What else? What else? And so I just say it's an amazing journey. It's just, it's a weird, I feel like it's one of those like ways the universe kind of forces you to like self-develop. It's like, hey, like this is what you need, right? And looking back, it almost feels, because I've been in the cycle a little bit longer. I mean, I've been in the journey longer than you. It looking back, it almost seems like it was like there was a purpose for everything, even though you don't see it at the time. When you give enough time to go by and you look back, you're like, that was good. Oh, I see. Oh, that's good, you know? And so it's an incredible journey, you know. It's just you need to have the willingness to go into it. Some people want to kick and scream and fight, saying I don't want to. And it's like the only way out is through.
Yes, it really is. And I think I do believe that sometimes it's good to come to this point in life because you are forced to face your fears. And I think we human becomes comfortable in not doing or to get outside of our comfort. But here you have to, either you will be stuck as feeling like not good or you just own it and you evolve in life. And it's tough, but you come out on the other side and you feel like, wow, I learned so much. Like I'm happy this happened to me. But when you are in the process, you're not happy about it.
Yeah. When I look at it, I'm like, what are some of the concepts recovery taught me? Number one is feeling discomfort. I think just us in today's day and age, we're just not used to feeling discomfort. So our threshold is really low. So it's learning to like redevelop that skill set. I think the second thing is that it also forces you to challenge beliefs that you had that were like super, like that for you was super true. They were so true that you didn't even realize they were a belief. I think those are the ones you challenge the most. And then really it's just going into this journey of like, who are you? What do you want? What fulfills you? And then going on that exploration, not knowing the answer, but feeling comfortable enough that you'll figure it out. Where you have like the confidence of like, listen, I'll figure it out. I don't know where this road leads, but I want to explore, right? It's like going into the unknown, having the faith that everything's going to be okay. You know, it's like when you don't know how things, like I would have never imagined, hey, going back into time, going back into time, like back in time, sorry, and saying, hey, Sean, you're going to be going through this. Here's how you're going to come out. And then here's what you're going to do with it. It just never made sense. I always ask myself, why is this happening? Why is this me? What did I do to deserve this? And then like and then you're like, oh, okay. But I had to go through the unknown, not knowing what this was going to result to. And I think, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but I feel like that's kind of how it is, right? In a lot of ways.
Yeah, it really is like that. And it's still like that in life. And I think now I'm just less afraid of the unknown. Or I can see that things happen and there are things that will happen still, some good, some bad. But you know, that's life. And I cannot change that. And I cannot change that with my mind. I cannot fix that with my mind. I don't have superpowers. So I can either try to control it in my head, create some kind of illusion, or I can just flow and feel at peace and see what life brings me, and also operate from my best self. And also try to inspire other people to do the same, I think.
Yeah. And you showing up here really is going to help so many people. And that's the journey. It's, you know, you keep moving forward and you do everything with the best intentions. I feel like from my motto is just go with everything with the best intentions, execute as well as you can, have integrity, and whatever happens, you will figure it out along the way. And you know, just having that faith that everything good that's happened to me came from the unknown. And so knowing that, yes, the unknown is scary because you don't know what's going to happen, but every good thing that's happened to you has happened in the unknown. And so it's amazing. It's an amazing journey. What is Frida is, what would you tell somebody who's like really going through the journey right now, that feels like stuck, that might have felt like at the worst stage where you felt, you know, where you're like, I just don't know what's going on. What feedback would you give that person?
I would tell them that, you know, if they go through this process, they need to, first of all, trust that they can get out of this, that it is possible. Your anxiety is lying to you and it's going to try to make you stuck. So you cannot trust it. Really not trust it. It's like your worst enemy at the moment. It wants you well, but at the moment when you are in the cycle, you cannot trust it. You really cannot, and it will try to convince you, and it would be the best on trying to convince you. But you really need to put in the tools that you're taught, and you're gonna see that you cannot trust anxiety, but you can trust yourself. But you really have to have the faith for it. And also listen to other people that went through this, because that helped me, and also put your faith into them. Because, for example, me, I would never sit and talk about this if I didn't strongly believe in this. And I tell so many people, it's crazy, but it works. And you will understand once you have applied and been on the other side as well. You will understand, and you will learn so much, and you will grow so much. So see this as something that is going to help you in the future, if you really trust, and yeah, just go through this journey. And you, in the end, you're just going to develop as a person. And I know it's crazy, and I know your head is going to give you so many weird symptoms, but just put everything under the anxiety umbrella that you always told us. Like literally everything, because it's gonna try to make you feel like, okay, but this is something else, this is something else, this is something. No, everything there. And then just go through the journey to recover, and you will. But you really need to be disciplined about it also as well. You need to put in the work into it, because it's not going to happen like this, because your brain will automatically try to put you back into where you're stuck. So just decide for yourself that, hey, I'm gonna get into recovery, and I believe in myself, and I do trust my body. And for once, I'm gonna just do this for myself.
I've been thinking a lot about it, and I think sometimes the hardest thing to do is make that decision.
Mm.
You know, like I remember thinking about it in my journey. I just became so fed up that I'm just like, whatever. I'm just I was, and I meant that. That was the thing. I didn't just say that. I still had really hard moments, and then I might have had moments where I still kind of like went back into old ways sometimes when I was going through the journey. But I think the biggest shift was making that decision. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna, what's I've been doing hasn't been working. So,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
that was, I saw that a lot in you. And we, by the way, like, you did great in the program. Like, I'm dead serious. You did awesome. Like, you crushed it. Like, you really did. You were. I know. For you, it was difficult, and but from my perspective, when I like see it in like a spectrum, I'm like, Frida was like, she was good. She was a great student, you know. And so I just, there was a lot of honesty, and I feel like humility when you were going through this journey. And so, and that was like one of the best things, I mean, for, you know, so I hope you're, you know, I hope you, you know, are proud of that, because it's not easy. And, but it was, you know, you made it in a weird way, like as enjoyable as you could.
Yeah, I really did. And I do think the program gave me a lot of knowledge, which I am very interested in, like the mind and the body. So I think that also made me like, okay, I can learn a lot there, like how it works. And so that was also, it was a school for me, kind of. So I just didn't see it as just my own recovery. I just saw it as like learning about humans and how we work. That's amazing. And so I think when you also see it in a bigger perspective, it's also easier to apply it to yourself, because we are not that special. It works the same for everyone.
It really is a it's a learning of yourself. I would say recovery is just learning more about yourself. It has nothing to do with the symptoms and stuff like that. That happens as a consequence, but then when you just learn more, um, that's the biggest thing. And so, Frida, I've been super excited. I'm really glad I got to connect with you. Is there anything you wanted to, anything else you wanted to say? We might have not had a chance to mention on the call. Anything you want to like tell members listening or just the audience in general?
I would say that if they are really feeling like they are in a bad spot and they are really trying to recover but it doesn't work, the mentorship have helped me so much. I went to therapy since I was 10 years old, and I joined the mentorship when I was 32. And nothing have helped me so much as the mentorship. So I think really I would really recommend it. And also you make friends even. So it's amazing. And trust that we are sitting here talking because it is possible. It really is. And you come out so much stronger and life becomes so much more amazing.
That's awesome. Thank you, Frida. Thank you so much for hopping in here and sharing your story. I'm hoping once I go to Sweden, if we can, grab coffee and stuff, and maybe do like a little meetup and stuff. And you're still in Sweden, right? Which city?
Right now it's called Gävle.
Okay, got it. We'll talk offline.
North of Stockholm.
Stockholm,
But,
got it.
Yeah, I go to Stockholm so we can grab a coffee. It's fine.
Nice. Awesome. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you've gotten this far, if you want to know more, I'll put some resources down below just to help you on your journey. Frida, thank you again. And I'll see you guys in the next video.